Hello and welcome back for the final time, for us at least in the EU studio, to the Hearthstone Global Games Week 10. It's one of the final games now of Phase 1 of the competition. Cora and Rob will bring you the last two, but for now, United Kingdom versus Peru.
Yep, United Kingdom versus Peru, and Romania have waited however long we've been casting for this one, because if Peru win 3-0, Peru are through. If they win 3-1, they are not through. Believe me, they're not through on that.
Like with Russia, but the other way around. They had to just win one game before.
Right.
No one believes
just the way the maths works out. Peru are not through if they tie with Romania. But if they win 3-0 against United Kingdom, and that seems to be something that people do pretty easily at the moment, then they will go through ahead of Romania.
Shots
As you
fired
can see,
at Own Nation.
I don't even know, I just owned them. Netherlands, United States romping away with this group, but it was a difficult group for the rest. And yeah, I think people will be quite interested in this one, to be honest. I think RDU a very popular figure, as are the rest of the team.
So to make the consequences crystal clear for this game, Peru win 3-0, they go through as the third group.
Right.
Peru do not win 3-0. Any other permutation of wins, Romania go through as the third group.
Romania will all be watching this. Hi, Romanian people. Good luck. Good luck with Peru as well. I'm not even going to say good luck to the United Kingdom because they're out already.
Let's see the roster that's going to be representing the teams today. From Peru's side, Nandib, Kishtar, Izzy, and Uchiha Sasuke.
And from the United Kingdom side, Jumbre, George C, Green Sheep, Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan, all in caps, likes to stick out that one, doesn't he?
Yeah, and likes to stick out with his deck choices as well. And of course, as they haven't got much to play for in their own right, I suspect that Jackie Chan will be busting out the weirdness today.
bit of a national treasure, Jackie Chan. I would say he's one of the most famous Hearthstone players from the UK, just based on the size of his stream. Okay, we're gonna have to compare Peru to the United Kingdom now. This is gonna be embarrassing for us.
Why? Because everywhere's beautiful part of the United Kingdom? I haven't seen the United Kingdom VOD yet. I don't think I've had the pleasure of casting them
It's
yet.
actually, I don't know how they've made it look that nice.
Yeah, I mean, that looks actually amazing compared to how it looks in reality.
That doesn't so much.
It looks like it was cleaned once. That looks nice, though. Green and pleasant lands of the United Kingdom of about 1 square mile, somewhere that they found with a helicopter using Google Maps.
We're so negative. We're not great at advertising.
I'm not negative. I've never been a negative person.
We're not great at advertising our nation. You should come and visit.
Yes, visit sunny United Kingdom. We're good at everything but Hearthstone.
All right, let's take a look at the matchup for the final time today. The Hearthstone Global Games format is a best out of 5. 4 players on each team, so one of the players is going to have to play twice.
Is he?
3 different classes. Very good. Oh, actually, is he going to be playing twice as well? One of the players clearly unable to make it today. It's Uchiha Sasuke, by the looks of it.
Cool.
The classes are distributed between the 4 players on the team, all 9 classes. Then they decide how the pairings are going to go, what order the players are going to play, and from this point on, it's a blind pick. So Izzy versus Green Sheep first, Izzy on the Warrior and the Priest, Green Sheep on the Shaman and the Rogue. They're shown their opponent's 2 classes, and they have to then decide which one class they want to bring.
And I am deeply suspicious of Jackie Chan going in there at number 4. And the reason I'm deeply suspicious is because the UK know that only the first 3 games are important.
Right.
Even though it's not for themselves, they're going to go out there, they're going to flat out try as much as they can to make sure they give 100%.
Doing it for Romania.
But sticking Jackie Chan at number 4 when the game doesn't matter anymore to anybody in the whole league of anywhere ever means to me that either that druid or that priest, and he's known for playing silly with both, is going to be entertaining.
That's a very sportsman way of doing it, though. If you want to come in and be silly, sure, do it. But do it in the game where it literally doesn't matter. Very nicely done. I like these strategies from the United States.
That's only my reading of the situation, but it makes perfect sense to me that that's exactly how I would go about doing it if I wanted one of my players to have a bit of fun.
Izzy on the Warrior versus Green Sheep on the Shaman. Now, I would usually, back in the old days, I would have instantly said, yeah, Green Sheep's going to be playing the most aggressive Shaman possible. But not so fast, because he won the UK ESL Premiership just a few weeks ago. We were both there casting it, and he played a full control lineup.
A gasp went up around the arena because he had a Jade Idol in his opening hand. That's how much everyone was expecting Green Sheep to play a 4 aggro deck lineup. His first round opponent, Ben, sorry Ben, just got blown out of the water. He took the opinion that Green Sheep never adjusts from aggro. And honestly, everyone who Ben spoke to said, yeah, you did the right thing. Green Sheep, literally the announcers, I think it was yourself and Excoundrel at the time.
It was Gaskin.
It was you and Gaskin were saying that this guy's going to open up with an aggressive Druid. First card, Jade Idol, and the 200 or 300 people in the crowd just collective went, and then Green Sheep just went on and won the tournament.
That may have actually just been me and Gaskin into our microphones. There was a bit of an echo in the...
Oh, I was sat in the crowd. It was loud when he drew that Jade Idol. Yeah, it's like, oh my goodness, he's actually just second-guessed everybody.
And I believe he was playing, I think he was playing the Jade Shaman in that lineup as well. So it is possible that we may see the first Jade Shaman of the day. I'd still say it's much more likely that it's just Evolved Shaman. It's the only one we've seen this week.
Plus, he's got George C nagging him to play the best decks as well. So I should imagine that it will just be the token. We're going to find out, though, pretty soon.
I can see a doppelgangster, so there it is. There's the guy.
Pirate Warrior versus I was going to say Jade Shaman. There's a doppelgangster there, Neil. That's not a Jade Shaman. That isn't an Evolved Shaman. At least this one will be a quick first game.
To be fair, there is a lot of Jade on the screen right now. That is a lot of jadiness.
A lot of jadiness. Jaded casters.
Don't think you keep much of it, though. I think you just keep one Jade Claws and
I
throw
agree.
everything else.
Temptation with the coin to keep the Jade Lightning because it does deal pretty well with Frothing Berserkers, Naga Corsairs, Cultists as well. So because you've got the Jade Claws to deal with the early small stuff, there is the temptation to keep the Jade Lightning, but I suspect it's a bit too slow and you try and get some 1-drops and some Flame Tongues.
Yeah, there are a lot of minions though with 4 health in the warrior deck, as you were saying. It's hugely relevant. Okay, but gonna do as we thought initially, just keep Jade Claws, hope for a better opener, and actually this is much better. Bloodsail Corsair and Jade Claws looks like a pretty good way of starting off. Maybe try and save the Bloodsail Corsair for a Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, you may also anyway just go turn 1 into coin into Jade Claws anyway, set up the board that way, get the overload out of the way while your turn 2 still looks good, and even more clearly then turn 3 into your Mana Tide if you have to. There is the other option, the Bloodsail Corsair coin evolve silliness that we have seen already once today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think I do prefer just coining out Jade Claws here, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Just get rid of either of the minions. Don't think it even matters which. Drop a 1/1 on the board. You're overloaded next turn, so only 1 mana next turn. But dream scenario would be that Peru then go ahead and drop a Fiery War Axe, and then you've got the 1 mana to play Bloodsail Corsair. You basically just win the game off the back of that.
Yep, and that's how they're going to try and do it. We can see actually this game's going to get very interesting very fast because Peru are going to have a big wide board if they want it that's going to require devolving or maelstroming. And then there's going to be a captain if they don't. So with no mana to devolve at the moment.
Yeah, no Fiery War Axe present in Izzy's hand at the moment. As production are very keen on erupting the volcano.
The volcano seems to be an essential part of Hearthstone Global Game. Has been for some weeks, and personally I'm all for it as the Maelstrom portal in the nick of time hops into Green Sheep's hand.
Not quite, because of that overload. That overload is very frustrating, though very soon it could deal with the Southsea Deckhand and the N'Zoth's First Mate. The problem comes from Southsea Captain. If Izzy can find a way of getting that down first, then Maelstrom Portal might just do nothing.
Yeah, Devolve will turn things into mush, though, and at least slow down the damage. And although it doesn't look that great for Green Sheep right now, at the moment I think he's got a good chance of getting out of this in a turn or two's time.
Oh man, Southsea Captain coming down here just looks too good to be true. Buff up the patches, get rid of the pirate on the other side of the board.
And then next turn is all in.
Yeah.
In some worlds. And this might already induce the devolve. Okay, that gives Green Sheep a game plan. It's get to turn 6, don't die.
And then win one of the 1 in 6s to get a taunt from the Doppelgangster.
Yeah, that gives you, what, an 81 in 216 chance of getting a taunt, I think it is. Don't know how that is if you, like, you turn all the numbers into real numbers, but that's my quick and easy maths. Okay, that's also a big pickup, this Jade Lightning. That means that no huge bad things are going to happen to you.
Right. So, second Southsea Captain is very oppressive here. It buffs up the patches. It allows that to trade directly into the mana type totem. You push 5 damage to the face with the weapon as well. Devolve Maelstrom Portal, you've mentioned it already once or twice. That's going to have to be the play this turn, I think. And
might be devolve.
Depends what comes out of these Southsea Captains, I guess.
Let's see what sort of cards are left over when they get turned into 2-drops.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen 2-drops that have 1 health. Let's see. Yeah, that thing comes... Grime Street Outfitter comes out all of the time from Devolve. I swear that's the 3rd time we've seen it today.
It's like whenever you walk into a shop, the Outfitter's always there. Can I help you? No, I'm just looking. Oh, you sure you don't want any help? Look, go away. And that's just how you feel right now.
That's exactly what he's doing. Great Devolve Maelstrom Portal as it happens, though. Reset the board slightly. Green Sheep only needs to chill out for a couple more turns, and then he can play Doppelgangster Evolve. In fact... is there any world where he plays Doppelgangster one turn and Evolve the next? No, I don't think so, because Jade Lightning is just too good here.
Yeah, there is a world where that happens, but this isn't it, because, as you say, that Jade Lightning is just too powerful. As long as he gets a half-decent roll from the Doppelgangster Evolve, he should be in a good shape. But this is still a lot of damage coming thick and fast here.
Second Jade Lightning, yeah, this is just too easy to make this play. Deal with the Southsea deckhand. I don't think there's any reason to keep a Pirate alive or give your opponent a Shaman card. I guess keeping the Pirate alive doesn't matter because both Southsea Captains are gone. Yeah. Oh no, but there's still Blood Cell.
Leroy Jenkins. Does that matter?
10, 2 off.
Is there anything they can get from trading here that would make their life easier? Probably not.
Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt.
7, 8, 9, 10. No, that'd still be 1 off.
So how do you do this? Do you kill the 2-2? Because you don't want both whelps. You want to leave the Leroy against the 1-1, basically, is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Do you even Leroy this turn? Yeah, I think you probably have to.
Sort of do, right? But then your Bloodcell Raider's never big enough. It's not the easiest turn to plan ever.
Gonna make the trade, see if something gets picked up that makes this easier. Lotus Agents isn't bad, actually.
It really is not. This could give them a Druid Rogue or Shaman card, but it could give them direct damage, more importantly.
Bite is direct damage.
Bite is a lot of direct damage.
It's not the most efficient method of direct damage. There are definitely cards that deal 4 that don't cost 4 mana, such as Feral Rage. That would just be the strictly better one in this specific case. But now Green Sheep gonna have to just hero power Jade Lightning. It's still not lethal from Izzy though.
It's not, but it's looking close.
Green Sheep would have been really hoping for a Taunt Totem there. Arcanite Reaper still not lethal.
Still is not, but sets it up. And
I think you just drop it this turn, right? And smack face with it. Then that with Bite next turn is...
yeah, you drop the Raider as well, most likely, just to make sure they have to trade in their 3-3.
Green Sheep wanting to do this for his friend RDU. I know the guys are close.
I was thinking that, yeah, that Green Sheep will definitely want to be helping RDU out here with this win. And see if he manages to pull it off.
See what he gets from this draw, and then what he gets from the Evolve. Second Doppelgangster, I think there's only one play here.
Yep, trade in, go 1 point face, Doppelgangster Evolve.
Hope for a 2-mana taunt or a 6-mana taunt.
Is there any way they can make better things happen? I don't think there is.
Actually, most of the 6-mana taunts won't even be good enough because Leroy would just deal with it and then Arcanite Reaper plus...
Right.
No, there's no mana for that, never mind. Izzy would be short on mana to do that, so...
There's like Sunwalker with Divine Shield.
That would be fine.
That would be a good one to pull out right now.
Any of the 6-mana taunts would actually be fine because of the mana limitation.
I'm curious as to why he hasn't traded the 3-3 yet.
You've got to make this trade, Green Sheep. You just have to do that.
Is there any sort of weird play where they devolve? No, there just isn't. He seems to not like it. Maybe he doesn't realise that there's so many taunts.
Is he hoping for a taunt totem? He got it!
If he rolled that taunt totem because he thought there was more chance of getting a taunt on the 1 in 3 than he was on the other stuff, I think he's wrong. because it's a 1 in 6 of getting a taunt from each individual,
That's
which is a 125 in 216 as this lethal comes in.
It would also have been a better taunt as well. It would have
Right.
been one, maybe he didn't die to the 4 damage mortal strike. So unfortunately, Green Sheep not quite coming through there. Yeah, well, it's 3 1 and 6s versus 1 1 and 3, isn't it?
Yeah, which is it's 81 in 216 unless I'm going really crazy, which I might be, which is more than 1 in 3. So if that's why they rolled it, that was an incorrect play.
Big numbers, Neil.
1-0 to Peru.
Wiping me out with these numbers. But yeah, Peru
Making them up.
gonna take the first game. They need to win 2 more in a row, and then they are through to stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games. The stakes have never been higher for them. Romania watching ever so closely. They are one step closer to being kicked out.
I think this is like the 6th result that needs to go Romania's way, but it's the only one that looked like it was really likely to go their way from the start.
Let's take a look.
And they're now one step closer to it not going there.
Let's take a look at the next game that we've got coming up now.
Doot, doot, doot.
Any moment. I can hear sounds. There we go. Okay. Oh, well, we're back.
Well, that was quick, but Jumbre was a word that I saw.
I didn't see where the car. Yeah, can we see that again, please, production? There we go.
Awesome.
Great, okay. Hunter versus Paladin. Of course, it's going to be Izzy for the second time. And Jumbre, no surprise at all to see him playing Paladin. Paladin is what he does.
Yeah, Jumbre, right the way back at the start of 2016, made his name by reaching the top 12 of HCT with Egg Paladin. Was intending to launch his streaming career that night, was drunk on stream with his friends, celebrating and talked a lot of gibberish, got a massive number of viewers because people wanted to see this Jumbre who had just invented this great new deck, and he basically scared everybody off.
Now,
You should watch him. He's not usually drunk, and he's usually very clever.
Now, you know I like to talk about former Raven teammates, as I mentioned with Indiran earlier. Well, on Torpedo, Jumbre was teammates with Raven.
Okay.
If you didn't realize where I was going with that. Before Raven joined G2 Greatness, they hung out together, you know, they were teammates. So just like to talk about my co-casters like that.
Raven is now teammates, of course, relevant to this discussion of the RDU, who will be watching this with bated breath, hoping upon hope that Peru lose 1 game of the next 2.
Hey, RDU, how's it going? We know that you're there.
On the other hand, I'm sure there's a lot of people from Peru watching this as well. Would be one of the surprises of the tournament. They could qualify, but they're now in position to do so if they just win 2 more games. I know we're labouring the point, but Romania got to this position through so much combination of their own good results and other people's results that it's been one of the big stories of the first phase of this whole Hearthstone Global Games.
It has indeed. I just received word. Game will start momentarily. We're just waiting. Jumbre's having some sort of problem, but we'll get him in just a moment.
Just getting his eggs loaded into the deck.
Gave Blizzard a call. Hey, can we just run Nerubian eggs just for this 1 game, please, in standard? Is that something that we can?
It wouldn't even surprise me if he tried that. His description that got him voted onto the UK team had egg jokes in it. I mean, everybody else was like, I'm the best player in the world, vote for me. Look where that got you. But Jumbre's was like, I'm an excellent player and etc, etc.
There's a bunch of egg puns. I don't even remember either, but clearly they were funny enough to entice some votes out of people. I mean, good on you for that, Jumbre, but let's go. Game number 2. Peru need to win this and 1 more to get through to phase 2 of the competition.
I will fight with honor.
That looks like a great hand from Izzy. On the coin.
Jumbre running Rallying Blade and True Silver Champion, like you say, Izzy, a whole bunch of 2s. Wonder how much of this he will keep. You want every single card, but can you make all 4 work together? Coin Grandmother into Crackling Razormaw once seems really good. I think you definitely keep 1 of each.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of what your deck is about as to how many more.
Jumbre gonna just throw away 2 of his cards, keep the Inquisitor, got 2 1-drops, can't complain. Both of these players have kind of got what they want in their situation. Izzy on the coin, Jumbre not on the coin. Alley Cat as well. All Izzy needs now is a Scavenging Hyena, and he's got everything.
He really has, apart from the fact he has got the coin, which is the thing he wouldn't want in this particular situation.
Right.
As Jumbre is going to get first crack at lining up all of his minions.
There's the first one.
I wasn't going to do many of them today, but hey, that one was just too easy.
Okay. So, Murloc Tidecaller or Vilefin Inquisitor, do you favour having a minion with more health or one that's going to get more attack very soon? I like the Tidecaller.
I'm not sure it matters too much, so the one with the more health might be important here. A lot of the early Hunter plays are 1 health minions.
That's fair.
Basically, the important thing for Jumbo here is to make sure he has something on the board going into turn 4, so this Blessing of Kings can do its work. He's always been a big fan of the buffs, actually, whether it's eggs or whatever going on. He does like the Paladin buff cards.
Sure, well, they do tend to be quite strong. Obviously, he doesn't like them quite enough to be running the Paladin quest.
Right, not quite, but this is how you run it, right? If you're going to play Blessing of Kings, we've seen a lot of people do that yesterday. If you're going to play Blessing of Kings, why not have Argent Squire? It's so hard to get rid of by turn 4. It means that your Blessing of Kings is going to have a target a lot of the time. And that, even though it hasn't got synergy with Megasaur, it's got synergy with 5 damage hit you in the face.
Yeah, Argent Squire has been in and out of these aggressive Paladin decks over the last year or two. Along with the other Divine Shield minions, like Argent Horse Rider and Shielded Minibot being one of the older but more relevant ones. And these Divine Shields, exactly as you said, they're hard to deal with. So Argent Squire just makes so much sense in this deck.
Feeling that the discussion here is about what you do with this Tidecaller now you've not played it early. You can't Hero Power, then next turn play one of them, Argent Squire, and then Hero Power again. So the best way to make things fit is to do both of them now and to draw another 1-drop.
Yeah.
Or to draw a 3-drop, which could be your War Leader. Not the easiest turn here. Again, all about making sure that something is on the board at the end of turn 3.
Well, it makes sense to me. Just put as much down as possible. Not entirely sure about that trade. It does set up Izzy to dispatch the Murloc Tidecaller, and Crackling Razormaw going to do some work here. Wind Fury looks good. Can't be targeted. Doesn't look good against Paladin. Can't be targeted. Basically does nothing. Yeah,
not ideal there. Would have liked something to allow this to survive, but Wind Fury clearing up both, definitely okay.
Yeah.
Didn't pick up anything to do on this turn, so he is now... This is what they were discussing last turn, is what happens if we whiff. And this is what happens. You just have to hang in there for a turn.
Jumbo very quickly falling behind here. Proccing that big bad wolf did not work out well for him. Taunt or can't be targeted would have been useless on the Kindly Grandmother. So the double trade that Jumbo just allowed to happen has punished him severely. And now Izzy's got the board. You don't want to see a Hunter get the board. Crackling Razormaw, Alley Cat are things in Izzy's hand ready to go. He can pick up a Houndmaster. He's looking good.
He is looking good for a 2-0. Deadly Shot is a very good card to have against Paladin in the current environment as well. If it does get as far as having to get through a Tyrion or get through a Spike Ridge Steed, that is a card that will come in mega handy later on.
Attack, Wind Fury, Death Rattle, they actually all look pretty okay. I'm gonna go with Death Rattle, just make sure he keeps hold of the board. Are we gonna see a trade here? Getting rid of the Murloc, I guess, makes sense going into a War Leader or Gentle Megasaur turn.
Yeah, reading the situation well, I feel as well that, hey, he's playing the Argent Squire, there's probably more buffs. Rallying Blade, of course, pretty handy with that in your deck as well.
Though, speaking of weapons, True Silver Champion looks just fine here. Jambray finally going to get his chance to clear the entire board and sort of reset again, putting himself in charge as he will end this little back and forth with
but
the
don't forget the plants.
Of course, of course.
Plants will keep it kind of level to some degree.
But they're not beasts, and I think that's the relevant thing.
They are not beasts, which means you can't get Houndmaster, sure.
Oh, well, he's not clearing all the beasts from the board. I thought he was going to clear all the beasts from the board. But unpunished by the looks of it. Tundra Rhino, the 5-drop that can come from Firelands Portal, whose name that I could not remember for the life of me earlier. That's the one.
Oh, okay, that's not the card I was thinking of. So there's another one as well then, which is quite interesting. Anyway, no, you're right. The one I was thinking of probably costs 4 mana.
Stormwind Knight is what I'm thinking of.
It is indeed. Okay. So...
It's funny how I remember the name of that card and it doesn't see any play whatsoever. Anyway, gonna go wide here. Peru now got 4 beasts on the board. As I say, Jambray not punished for leaving the beast alive, but things getting slowly but surely out of control for him. Blessing a King is an option, but with all these minions that have 1 attack, the Divine Shield's not doing that much.
Wicked Flame would help get this health total back up if he gets into trouble, especially with Blessing of Kings on it. And I know it is a combo that Jumbo has put in his deck many times, the Wicked Flame into Blessing of Kings thing. Works out quite well, it turns out. Whether it's the right one for this spot where he can just play Dread Corsair for 0, I don't know.
Sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. 0 mana 3/3 works pretty nicely. No Noble Sacrifice. Not even sure if he'd pick it if there was one. Redemption could go well with the Divine Shield. Not going to actually play the Dread Corsair, though.
Now, I've seen Jumbo do this several times in the past, and I've never... I mean, you can turn it into a 7/7. You play with Blessing of Kings if you want on the same turn. Also...
4 mana 7/7, okay. I've seen some of those before.
That is a thing. Alright, board is going to be cleared yet again. And this time, there's going to be a 2/5 Rhino on the board with a high main in hand, and there's no obvious way to clear this Rhino, which means the high main may have charge, and that is never a good sight for anybody.
Yep. Absolutely nothing that Jambray can do about it, though. There is going to be a very angry Savannah high main coming down next turn. What can Jambray do, though? Dread Corsair plus Redemption? Is that the best he's got? Plus Blessing of Kings?
And this Deadly Shot is looking so good for Izzy right now as well.
Yeah. I don't... So it's Dread Corsair, Blessing of Kings, Hero Power. That sort of plays around the Deadly Shot.
Right.
If Jambray's even playing around Deadly Shot, we haven't seen many of them today at all.
We haven't.
I don't think we've seen any
Deadly
of them.
Deadly Shots, Hunter's Marks, we hardly see them at the moment. I don't think we've seen one this week.
We haven't.
I nearly said weekend. I was thinking for another word there because I knew it's not the weekend. I've just said that every single time for the last 10 weeks.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are Lorinda weekends.
They really are. That's how my week starts and ends. Okay, Jumbo really trying to work out what on earth to do about this. And yeah, just making 5/4 that does something. Just doesn't do much.
No.
I was going to say, maybe you take the stealth so you can take out that 3/1 potentially.
Yeah. Stealth is the only thing that does anything. The extra attack, the Tabby Cat just trades into it, big deal. The stealth is the one. You can buff it up and it kind of has charge next turn.
Here comes a whole load of pain, though. Savannah High Main can proc itself on the 5/4 and make even more things
That's
happen.
the way you do it, because that way you can get rid of everything except the 1/1 and also keep the Tundra Rhino alive.
Right.
Tundra Rhino plus Tabby Cat trades in, Savannah High Main trades in, then pushes face for 4 damage. Jambray, I don't know how he gets out of this position.
No, neither do I at the moment. Sometimes he's got tricks up his sleeve that help him. Maybe a Consecration would be enough in this situation to clear the board next turn. There'll be a lot of very small minions hanging about. But he may not even play Consecration. I mean, it's not a card that everybody sticks into decks when they're making slots for other things.
You're right, Consecration would be a pretty good answer. It wouldn't completely just win the game for Jambray, but it would at least reset the board for the time being. But no Consecration in sight. Jambray can buff up this 1/1. He's got several different methods of doing it. He can use the War Leader, make it trade. In fact, War Leader, make it trade, and the Blessing of Kings, possibly a good option for the turn. Not going to go with it, though. Going to just put down the Redemption.
Going to go wide and hope that his opponent doesn't have Unleash the Hounds. Guess what?
What?
They have Unleash the Hounds.
Do they really?
Going to be a little bit sticky, this one, I think.
Unleash the Hounds plus Houndmaster.
Yeah.
Both can be played together. May decide to try and go for a Leok instead. Leok would buff up the Hyenas to make them make some very nice trades.
Might see one of the Hounds attack something here just to see what the secret is. And now they've got the confirmation. They can choose whether to play Animal Companion, go for that Leok, or go for that Huffer, or to play the Houndmaster and take the safe kills.
So Houndmaster on one of the 2/2s, allow it to trade with the War Leader. Then you can kill everything else easily in one hit. The second Hyena goes into the Tidecrawler, and the one of the Hounds goes into the Murloc. That works. That's the way he's going to do it. Does he even bother clearing everything? I think he does. I don't think there's any reason not to trade.
Depends how much damage you can push face. Obviously, he's impressed that button range, but clearing everything is really helpful going into turn 8 because it means the Tyrion will have no randomness with the Deadly Shot.
Yes.
And so I think what we will see is them clear everything up here.
One hound goes there, one hyena goes into the tide caller, one hound goes into the 1/1. Yep, controlling the board nicely, and you're right, Deadly Shot just deals with Tyrion so nicely that that's not even a threat. Jambray not picking up the cards he needs now. Argent Squire not looking so hot. Yeah, okay, sure, it becomes a 5/5 with the Divine Shield if he wants it, but I don't think Izzy really cares.
Yeah, going to use the Deadly Shot on this almost certainly now, I think. Might not even care, but probably will. It's worth removing.
Huffer is lethal here. Eaglehorn Bow is one off lethal, so Huffer or Leok lethal. Oh.
Rip.
It happens.
So now I think you're scared of Tyrion, but there might not even be a Tyrion in this deck. There probably is, don't get me wrong, but there might not be. It has been known. And I think you kill the 1/1, I think you Deadly Shot and push the 8,
yep.
And then just press the magic button. And then next turn you win so many different ways.
Yep, then if there is a Tyrion, big deal. You've got the stuff on the board to trade with it, and you still win in a few turns' time with just your hero power. So I agree with your play entirely. I like just trading the Hound into the 1/1, getting rid of the 5/5. Or I guess alternatively, you could just ignore it.
You can ignore it for sure. I mean, I'm not going to complain if they do decide to ignore it.
Bow pushes him down to 2 health, so that just is hero power range. The only
Sure, yeah, sure, I go with you.
The only card that's slightly weak against is Ragnaros Lightlord, but it's just not.
This is fine, you're right, this is correct, I'm wrong. Going down to 2 is always the right option in this spot. Because there are no taunts, no Tyrions, who cares? My bad. And Izzy's good, and it's going to be 2-0 to Peru.
Romania not feeling so good now.
50-50 as far as they're concerned now. And it's all going to come down to that famous Romanian, George C.
No, not quite.
Not quite Romanian enough.
But it is down to George C. That much is true. Romania just hoping that George C's got what it takes. They're going to be a little bit demoralized at this point. They've just seen 2 of the guys playing on their behalf lose. They need this 3rd win. They need it.
Let's see, yeah, what it's going to be. It's going to be Mage against Paladin.
Okay, 2 of the top decks in the meta right now. Nandib versus George C. Izzy, by the way, just want to point out, doing his country proud, playing 2 games back-to-back right at the start of the series, winning both of them. Of course, it is a team effort, but he's done a great job. And now Peru, suddenly, they can taste it. They can taste the extra prize pool from getting through to the next stage. The glory. They are really going to want this win.
Yeah, they will be the most surprising team in the last 24 if they get through. I'm pretty comfortable with that as a statement. But also the important thing for them, not only getting through, but the full reset that goes with it. They end up in a new League of 4, which will be difficult. I mean, this one was difficult as well. They have to play 3 matches against 3 qualified teams that are all going to be above them because their qualification score is going to be bad. Yeah. But they'll be through with a clean sheet, and a couple of wins will get them through to the top 16.
We say a full reset. It's like as close as you can possibly get, right? Like, you lose your score entirely, but the seeding means that it's not quite even footing. Well, it is, because you have the same score as them, but you just have harder opponents to start off with.
George C. with his Romanian flag. I'm glad I said he was a famous Romanian.
Oh, dear.
Because, thank you, George. You have made my casting sound like it made sense just for once. And with that, I'm off because my job here is done.
We should probably replace that with a Romanian flag, really.
Wow, I don't think we should. We shouldn't touch the flag. Some people get a bit funny about it.
I don't think people from the United Kingdom really care.
We don't.
We're not the most...
I don't know anybody who knows anything about the United.
We're not the most patriotic. Neil just likes the flag on his notebooks.
Yeah, at the start of Global Games, I thought it'd be good to have something to represent where I was from. And then I saw how we were doing, and that's the first time I've shown it for a while.
You have Neil the Murdoch to represent yourself, Neil.
He's just fallen flat on his face, so I think that's a pretty good representation.
My bad. Let's go into the next
I'm going to go into the game, and George C., famous for Freeze Mage, has 2 volcanic potions and a Medivh in his hand.
Finally given up on the Freeze Mage. Do you know, I can imagine some sort of conversation between George and RDU where RDU said, please, George, please, just don't play Freeze Mage.
I don't think that's the way to get George to do something. He probably dared him to play Freeze Mage.
Hey, Eater of Secrets could get some value in this matchup, just not good value. It actually could be an okay turn 4 play.
It could indeed make a vaguely reasonable sized minion. But it's all down to this. If Peru can win this game, they are through to the next stage. If they cannot, if George C can scupper them, then RDU and Romania will be through. And again, good luck to whoever you are supporting. This is one of the biggest games of the tournament so far.
Now, Nandi has been playing Hearthstone since the first day of open beta. He's been around for a long time. He used to play a lot of mid-range Shaman before Ngoro came out. And he's really excited to watch Peruvian esports grow. He said that Peruvian esports is young, but he wants to take this opportunity and prove themselves with it. And he is so close to doing just that.
He is really close indeed. Going with this controlling-looking Paladin deck, though. Running this into the Mage could be awkward.
Yep, he's going to want to pick up Forbidden Healings if it is too controlly. He's going to want to pick up Ragnaros, Light Lord, and he's going to want to make the most of this Wicker Flame. There is a possibility that that can do quite a bit of damage and quite a bit of healing itself,
right,
if paired with a Spike Ridge Steed, for example.
And you can't understate the healing enough in this match. It's not like Priest of the Feast, which just destroys Mage on its own. Yeah. The Mage keeps firing that stuff at you in this matchup, and you do have to heal multiple times to give yourself a chance.
Like, with Priest of the Feast, they kind of have an unliterate amount of healing almost. Right. Well, at least a bit of healing for each spell you have remaining, and thanks to Lyra, that is unlimited. But with Peru, with Paladin, you got like often one Rag Light Lord, one Forbidden Healing, Wicker Flame, and a couple of True Silver Champions, and that's it.
And it comes a bit at a time as well. So in the meantime, you can't heal for a huge amount in one go unless you do the Forbidden Healing. The Wicker Flame takes time to do its work.
Then again, there is the combination of cards I mentioned like a minute ago. Wicker Flame into Spike Ridge Steed means that Nandeep is going to be gaining 4 health each turn. Not relevant right now, because they're still at 30. So he's going to kind of hope that George deals some face damage so that he can make the most of it. Unfortunately, that polymorph looks pretty juicy.
And that is the big deal about doing the Wicker Flame so early, is that you're probably not going to kill the Mage with a Wicker Flame, even if he's got a Spike Ridge on him. But now that healing has gone, and that is healing that will not be helping Peru for the rest of this match.
All right, let's slow it down a notch now. George got the polymorph off. He's reset the board. Playing with a cool head. Tyrion, though, George may regret using the polymorph when that comes down.
He may, but I think it was essential. That thing was just going pretty crazy on him. He has got 27 burn damage in his hand right now already.
George eating a banana. I'm sure we just saw him finish a banana. Is this a second banana this game?
I think the first one was pretty large. I think he's getting through it pretty quickly.
Okay.
But I don't know. With George, anything could be a meme. There might be like 3 different bananas that he has there ready or something. I don't even know.
What is it with Hearthstone players and bananas?
Very good. The potassium.
Yeah.
Keeps the brain active.
Okay.
Should probably feed it to casters.
Yeah. Might request that next week.
Sounds good. All right, so George taking his time to accumulate damage in his hand. He's under no immediate threat. Obviously, gaining 8 here is really handy.
Yeah, the Curator actually is... If Nandi were to draw 3 cards from it, he'd mill 1 on his next draw. So I know that there's a Hydrologist in his deck. There's probably a Primordial Drake. I don't know if there's a Beast. Yeah, there should be a Kodo. So yeah, I think the Curator was unplayable there.
Right.
Huh. Well, no Tyrion's here, no Wicker Flames here. Gonna go with Soggoth.
Yeah, I mean, Mage isn't gonna get rid of that easily. Doesn't have that many minions, can't target it. It's something that will just keep delivering damage.
Can't Fireball it, can't Meteor it, can't Polymorph it.
I guess you can Meteor the side of it.
Yeah. It can take some splash damage.
Sounds about right. So, George wants to set up a situation where this Firelands portal damages the face and actually controls the board. And he's in no hurry to do this double volcanic potion, I don't think, because then these minions aren't threatening him right now. He's going to save this for later. All right, now it's threatening time.
George's still waving that flag. He's laughing about this, but I doubt that Team Romania are laughing watching this. Like, this is deadly serious for them, as it is to Nandeep, and we can see here the difference in, I guess, stature between the players. Nandeep, full of concentration. He needs to win this game. And George just enjoying himself, playing some Hearthstone.
He is indeed, but George is a fierce competitor. He likes to win at everything he does, whether it be a Twitter war, whether it be a Hearthstone game. I don't know what else he does that's competitive. I'm sure everything in his life is.
British young savage.
It's about the size of it. And he is also pretty savage when he wants to be.
Kodo seems like a timely pickup.
Yep.
For Nandeeb here, going to just stomp on that mana where more than likely this turn Hydrologist can come down as well. Heater of Secrets. It's so disappointing. That works too, though.
We also should have commented on the eye for an eye that was picked up earlier, of course, from the Hydrologist.
Right.
Normally that is a way of beating the mage through their ice block, but the Eater of Secrets will actually counter the eye for an eye later on.
Won't counter 2 of them, though. He takes the second
counter
one.
2 of them. So that'll be why we haven't seen the Eater come down. Or we won't. There's been no secrets to eat, so there's no value. But that's why we will see that held onto for a very long time.
Yep. There's no point in playing it for tempo now at all, even if there's a secret down. Like, why are you trying to beat a Noble Sacrifice? You're absolutely right. It makes more sense to deal with an eye for an eye later on, when it could be postponing your lethal or representing lethal on the other side of the board.
Big problem now, though, for George. He needs to work out how on earth he's going to tackle this Soggoth. And it's going to be a combination of cards, obviously, because he can't do anything about it directly. And one thing this deck doesn't have many of is minions. And yeah, he's going to generate one himself now with the Firelands and see where he stands.
Well, it's a 4/4. About
It is, just hasn't got his friend with him, though.
No.
No Squire for the night.
You don't see that card very often, the Squire, because you don't see this card played from the hand very often.
This is true. At least in competitive Hearthstone. I suspect you see it quite a lot at rank 24.
And in Arena.
Very good card when you haven't got much stuff.
Right. Okay. Auto Peacekeeper going to come down. Tell it to follow the rules. A lot of following the rules recently. What's Stampeding Coda going to hit? It's going to hit the Arcanologist.
Damage being forced into face now. So George is able to do 4 damage to everything and clear up everything but the Soggoth. But how he's going to deal with the Soggoth, nobody knows.
No second eye for an eye represented in the hand. So Getaway Coda, the obvious choice. Wants to try and soak up as much value as he possibly can. George really struggling to get onto this board. Double Volcanic Potion going to do a lot of work. Meteor later on going to be close to dealing with the Soggoth, but not quite.
Yeah, the way he's going to deal with the Soggoth is he's going to kill his opponent before his opponent kills him. That's all he's got now, I think. He's got to do 23 damage. He can do 16 from hand, but he's got to weave in ice blocks at some point.
The menagerie is for guests.
No more damage is going to go face ever in this game. It's unlikely the Soggoth ever gets dealt with, which means that fireball damage on the Curator would be wasted.
Well, that's not necessarily true. Now the Arcanologist can trade into the Soggoth, and Meteor can come down and hit the Curator. That is Getaway Coda, not eye for an eye. Meteor positioning.
Oh, that's going to be punished.
Meteor positioning. Nandibe, come on. In this vital position in the game, you can't do that.
That is punishable.
George, considering playing the Eater of Secrets first, preventing anything crazy like a Noble Sacrifice or a Redemption. Noble Sacrifice would prevent George's plan on trading into the Soggoth and then Meteor to finish the board. So this makes sense to me. Meteor gonna do its thing. Nandibe gonna regret the positioning right this second, I believe.
Yeah, he really is.
As George sort of back in the game now.
Very much back in the game, but remember, he now has no answer for eye for an eye other than Alex Strasering his own face and getting out of range.
Yep.
He does have to be on 1 for that to matter, of course.
That's true, because if he's on anything other than 1, he can just ping his opponent's face to proc that eye for an eye. The reason eye for an eye is so strong is because, for the Paladin in this matchup, is because Ice Block is not active on your own turn if you're the mage. If you deal lethal damage to yourself, it doesn't save you. So if you hit an eye for an eye when you've only got 1 health, then you just die regardless of what secrets you've got up.
Ouch. It's not much fun at all then. And so getting rid of that Eater of Secrets is a big deal. Now George can set up the ice block and again later heal himself with Alexstrasza. That will get him out of the eye for an eye problem.
Exactly what he needs.
He can begin to save this game.
5-mana Evil Heckler hitting the board there. And oh, it's so risky not playing this Ice Block, but Paladin don't tend to have a lot of burst damage.
Although we saw earlier they had 25 burst damage in their deck.
He's one off lethal right now. If that was a true silver champion, it just would be lethal. Equality, Consecration plus Rallying Blade will put George down to 1, but then the defensive Alexstrasza is going to do its thing.
It is, and it's going to need to because they're going to play the Eye for an Eye. That's the play they're going to think is going to win them the game.
If that was a true silver champion, my goodness, the game would just be over. Just waiting for this quality to come down. Peru's wondering, is there anything I need to save this for? Nope, don't think so. Let's put them on 1.
Watching George's face when his weapon gets equipped.
Great reaction. Thank you for drawing my attention to that.
Wow, and the Eye for an Eye as well. The defensive Alexstrasza is going to save things, though, for now.
Oh.
He's just trolled the whole of Romania. RDU, if you are still alive out there somewhere, let us know.
Unreal. Well, Outdoor Peacekeeper plus Stampeding Coda are going to make short work of this Alexstrasza. George had control of the board for mere moments there after that disgusting troll. What if he misclicked and did it then?
I don't think he'd have cared. He would have cared, but you know what I mean. I think he was willing to take the risk for the meme factor. Ekop famously did it at one of the Insomnia events with Yogg-Saron when he had lethal on board. Trolled the casters. George has just trolled an entire country.
Very good. Very good. Right. Now, he needed to ping the face at some point so that he only takes 1 damage. He probably needs to start thinking about developing these ice blocks. He doesn't need to worry about Eye for an Eye anymore, as both Hydrologists are gone. Both Flamestrike and Violence Portal are tempting pickups from this glyph.
Yeah, I mean, we're laughing as if he's out of it and he's won. He is not out of the woods completely yet. He's still going to have to fend off a reasonable-sized board from his opponent. He's definitely in the ascendancy, but it's not over. So, like you say, Flamestrike in terms of clearing up the mess, or Violence Portal in terms of getting on and doing the damage.
Time's up, George. Gonna have to decide. Taking the Violence Portal, so... Wait. Oh, that's gonna kill the Kodo? No. Wait, maybe.
Yeah, killing the Kodo seems fine
Then
to
you
me.
ping the 1-1?
Yeah. Or also at the Ice Block, you probably ping the 1-1, depending what you get.
Oh, that's not what you want.
That is, you don't like to see that, George.
Here, Master Revolution would be very helpful.
Here, Master of Evolution would indeed be very helpful.
Raglight Lord, not exactly what Peru needs right now. He doesn't need the healing at this point. He needs a way to just win the game as fast as possible. Going to just develop 3 damage, use the weapon to get rid of the Doppelgangster and drop Raglight Lord, putting himself back up to full health. George has a long way to go to win this, but he does run Medivh the Guardian. And if he can get control of this board, that is a potential way that he can take this back and win the game.
Yeah, interesting to see whether he has to maybe Pyroblast this
I guess
Ragnaros.
Fireball Medivh's Valet would do it too, but no, Pyroblast is going to be the way forwards.
Sort of the last sensible time he's going to get to have to do something like that. From now on, it's going to be all hands on deck, trying to preserve his health total with these ice blocks and Medivh's Valet.
Yeah.
And obviously, every turn Peru can play that magic button. It's going to be very difficult for the United Kingdom to catch up.
So are we in agreement then the only way George wins this is with Medivh?
I think so. Oh, Yogg.
He needs to... Wait, doesn't he just lose now?
Well, he can ice block.
Sets up the ice block, but Eye for an Eye's still there. So if Nandai finds a way of popping George at 1, then he just loses.
Yep. Unless maybe he has a courier in there that he can find some healing from.
Consecration from this would just end the game, essentially. There it is! Another opportunity to set George at 1. You're right, Cabal Courier is like the only way, really, of doing it, picking it up. But going to actually save it by the looks of it. He's got... Oh, no, he's going to do it. Okay. I was wondering if he didn't see that for a second and was going to save it for
And
potential
George
quality.
has definitely tried to win this, but he's also unable to resist having... Yeah, I thought that might happen. Peru look like they're going to get a hugely famous victory here. For all of our condolences to Romania, we can't underscore enough. Peru had to beat the USA 3-0 last week to get into this position. They have to beat the UK 3-0 today. And how George C gets out of this, I do not know. If anyone can with Mage, it's him, but I don't know how he's going to do it.
Ice Barrier, if Peru somehow fell for that, could get him some more health and therefore a way of getting rid of this pesky eye for an eye.
Reporting for duty.
I don't think there's any other mage spell that heals you. Only the Ice Barrier.
That's insane. He's down to 4 cards left in his deck. As far as we are aware, none of them help him.
Medivh, we said just a short while ago, the only card that can win George the game, but here, it's just not going to do that.
Nandib was an absolute still figure at the start of this game. That chair is now rocking back and forth at about 70 beats a minute. Nandib is getting incredibly excited there.
Just hit my face. Just hit my face.
Don't ever, ever give me that invitation again live on air, Dan.
well,
I might get banned.
Okay.
Gosh.
Ouch. Pro picks up Eater of Secrets there, but there's no actual way of dealing the last bit of damage.
Right.
So Eye for an Eye, not even the most relevant anymore. Spike Rich Steed going to ensure that this Doomsayer goes off.
It really is. George down to 3 cards. We still have no idea if there's a card in there that can help him in any way. Maybe he's got a second Eater of Secrets.
Peru win the fatigue game. Peru win if George tries to deal any damage to him whatsoever.
That's all I've got. Second Eater of Secrets. Polymorph keeps his Doomsayer off
Even
now.
then, though, okay, so even if there was a second Eater of Secrets, then George has to deal 30 damage in the next 3 turns.
At least that's the thing that can happen with Medivh.
Okay.
I don't think it can, but at least that's the dream is alive at that point.
Oh, we've got a mouse wandering over to the hot tub. Why not?
We'll never know what Jackie Chan had lined up for us. Here's the Eater of Secrets. Here's the consecration. Peru have beaten the USA. They've beaten the UK 3-0, 3-0 in back-to-back weeks. And they have finished above Romania in 3rd place. Look at those celebrations. They have qualified for Stage 2 of Hearthstone Global Games. And Dan, that's the biggest surprise overall of the first 10 weeks.
Nandib and Izzy doing their nation proud there. Izzy winning the first 2 games. And then Nandib finishing it off. I mean, yesterday we had the shocker with Russia where they had to lose 3-0. It was the only way they were eliminated, and they did. There was that, there was this. This has been a week full of surprises. Stage 1 of the Hearthstone Global Games is almost over. There's just the last few games tomorrow that Rob and Cora are going to bring you. But here you go. Very sad for us to look at, Neil. Of course, we're both from the United Kingdom, but there you go.
We won 4 games.
1 win, 4 losses. Well and truly out. We're going to have a quick chat with Team Peru. Nandib, congratulations for that incredible win. You and Izzy doing your nation proud. How does it feel right now to have just scraped your way through to phase 2 of the Global Games?
Oh my God, we're so excited. People were like telling us, oh, no, you still have a chance. Just do another 3-0. We can make it. I think RDU was tweeting that it was almost impossible for us to win, but we made it. And he was telling that we couldn't do it, and we showed him that we could. We were really hyped.
It was as likely for you to win as it was for Romania to get kicked out. But there you go, it happened.
So when did you think this would happen? When you halfway through the USA game, or was it today? When did it dawn on you, we can do this?
I think it was after the USA game that people were like doing the math, because I thought after the USA game, casters were saying that, oh, there was no way we could make it. But then people started doing the math. They were like gaming me, and they were like, you could do it. And we just go hype. We practice. We watch the UK team. We investigate, and we find good techs to beat them. And I think that's how they show up in this game.
So what did your research for the UK team give you then? Because obviously we've seen a lot of George playing Freeze Mage, but today he was playing Discover Mage. For example, is there anything that you did pick up in your research that helped you out today?
Actually, I watched George C. He was playing Gunther Mage. I think he tweeted that deck list.
Yep.
So I kind of like investigate about that. I thought that the tech was good, and I thought they were also playing a lot of Paladin. So that's why we play Hunter to counter the Paladin. We didn't draw the Hungry Crabs, but we had 2 Hungry Crabs on that deck.
Oh, okay.
So we were really hype about it.
And now you get to start from 0-0 again. Are we going to see you in the last 16?
Yep.
We're going to get through the next phase as well?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get the next week. Like we grow as a team. We started like really bad, but now like we're like working a lot better together, and that's why I think it shows in these 2 last games.
Awesome.
It's just been amazing to witness your comeback, and clearly the amount of work that you put into beating the UK 3-0 today, you've clearly earned it. So go and celebrate. And Romania going to be feeling pretty sad now. But
Well done, Peru.
Yeah.
Honestly, good luck in the next stage. You guys have earned this, so enjoy yourselves, man.
we'll catch you in stage 2 of the competition.
Thank you very much. See you.
I've got to admit, like, seeing how much work they've put into that,
Right.
the research they did, and hearing firsthand, you know, I looked at George's Gunther Mage, I saw him tweet it, so that's why we did this. We saw they've been playing a lot of Paladin, and that's why we did this. What a well-deserved win from them.
Yeah, really enjoyed to watch it. Obviously gutted for Romania, but in some ways it's like, well, who cares? Peru are the team. They're pretty much the story of the tournament. They've made it about them. Israel, another team that we wrote off, they've made it about themselves as well. 2 teams to look to see what they end up grouped with in the next phase. Those groups will be released some point during this week, I believe.
And giving the teams credit where they're due, I think if we're talking about teams that have kind of come forward and surprised a lot of people, then Philippines is another one, Bulgaria is another
Right.
one. These teams, they entered the global games looking to this opportunity to prove themselves, to prove that their country has got what it takes to make it in competitive Hearthstone. And they've made a lot of progress to getting there.
That Sogoth pickup there was a very good choice. Global Games was made for this. It was made so that some of the teams that maybe don't get as much experience could rub shoulders with the best teams in the world. They've come out of a group there with the Netherlands in, with USA in, you know, with the UK in, joking aside, with Romania. This is a team that has come through a tough group. And we've seen those teams you just mentioned start to form bonds. They've started to not only learn based on who they're playing against, but they're also learning from their own country, and that's great to see.
Let's take one last look at the group now that it is complete, and you can see your top 3 teams here. Netherlands in the top spot, United States coming in second, and Peru grabbing their opportunity and taking the 3rd place slot there. Romania, Thailand, and the United Kingdom all eliminated now from the Hearthstone Global Games.
Yeah, we've left Thailand out of a lot of those discussions, but they weren't that far off either, so commiserations to those guys as well. But that group dominated by the 2 big names in it, in fairness.
Wow, what a series of games today. What a series of games yesterday.
Yeah.
And what an amazing stage 1 of the competition. We're almost done with it now. Let's take one last look at today's results.
Yeah, and I think going into the day, we thought this might be a little bit less exciting than yesterday. Boy, were we wrong.
Yeah.
Hungary opened it up by getting through in an ace match, in a match that carried them through.
Denmark almost 3-0.
Right, they needed the 3-0.
They got to the 3rd game, but unfortunately, Inderen couldn't quite take it away, and France reverse swept them anyway.
As it happens, then Denmark would have needed Canada to get defeated. Canada needed a win to win the group. They stormed through despite the efforts of Neyman and his big druid deck to stop them. And then we saw Brazil-Switzerland. Brazil's attempt to win the group thwarted by an
Another reverse
excited
sweep.
Switzerland.
It was another reverse sweep, right? I'm pretty sure it was.
It was.
So, congratulations, well-deserved win there. But then the final game, the game of the day for certain, Peru did what looked like the impossible. RDU was saying it was almost impossible, but they did it. They beat the United Kingdom 3-0. They planned, they prepared, they performed, and they're through to the next stage of the Hearthstone Global Games as a result.
Yep, 24 teams will remain after tomorrow. But first, there are 2 more matches that need to be played.
Just these 2 games left in stage 1, Mexico versus Vietnam, and then China versus Indonesia. These games are going to be brought to you tomorrow by Rob, Wing, and Cora. But for stage 1 of the Hearthstone Global Games from the EU studio over here in Katowice, Poland, that's us done.
That is us done. Tomorrow, China, Indonesia in particular is massively important. The winner of that one goes through. Mexico playing to see if they win the group, so don't miss out on that.
You definitely want to come back tomorrow. And I just got to say, I really enjoyed the Hearthstone Global Games so far. I agree entirely with what you said. I did not think today would be as exciting as yesterday, but oh my goodness, at the end, I was completely proven wrong. Let's just hope, and I'm sure it will be, that stage 2 is just as exciting.
Yeah, stage 2, going to whittle it down from 24 to 16. Entirely new groups, starts up next week.
But yeah, before then, make sure you come back tomorrow for the final part of stage 1 of the Hearthstone Global Games. One more time, going to be brought to you by Rob Wing and Cora from the NA studio. And yeah, we'll be back next week starting stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games. We'll catch you then.